In this exercise, we want to create cubes that are three-dimensional. I'll start in a new file first, and I'll create something to see how I can get a 3D object in Illustrator. That's what I have. If I go to Effect 3D, I have a few things I can work with. The first one is Extrude and Bevel. If I click on it and check Preview, I would get this. So extrusion depth, if I increase that, it gets longer. So now it has a 3D appearance. I can rotate it from here. I'll see the preview down there. Now I have this black thing around it, and that's coming from the stroke. So before I do anything like this, my stroke should be set to none. When I set the stroke to none and I apply the effect and extrude, I will not get the black border. Instead, I will just get the 3D orientation. That's one thing. The second thing is that these lines are the same. And when something goes in perspective in the distance, it should look smaller. It doesn't get smaller, it just looks smaller. To make it look like this, I have to increase the perspective amount. And when I do that, yes, it does get now smaller in perspective. And at any time, I can change the extrusion depth. If I press OK and zoom over, I would see that the edges are not very smooth, while here they are smooth. So instead of creating a rectangle, I'll create a rounded rectangle, something like this. And I told you that you can change the curvature interactively like this. And I'm going to add a text object on top. So I'm going to say, for example, 7. Alright, and place it here. And let's color it white. If I selected these two objects now, I'll press Alt and move to create a copy. If I selected these two objects and I went to Filter and I went to Effects, 3D Extrude and Bevel, and check Preview, I would see that both are extruding at the same time. So I don't want the 7 to extrude. So what do I do in this case? I need the 7 to have the same orientation, right? So if I create outlines with the 7 and I selected both these and went to Window and Pathfinder, which is here, if I combined, I would lose the color. Alright? If I went like this and clicked here I would combine the different elements together, and if I ungrouped, each one would be separate from the other. So basically I want them to be as one object. So once they are one object, if I go to Extrude and Bevel and click here, I still get the extrusion for the 7. So the reason for this is that the 7 is really above the other one, and I have to find a solution for that. Let's keep the 7 out for now, and we'll figure out the solution in a second. So now that I have this 3D Extrude and Bevel preview, now here I want this to be upright first of all. So I'll choose front from the position here, and then if I go down here, I can actually change the angle. Let's say to 30. If I change it to 30, it goes up. If I change it to minus 30, it rotates down. Also, I need it to be rotated to the right. So say 30 degrees from here, or minus 30 degrees to the other side. And maybe this is too much now. Let's say minus 10, or maybe 0. I work with this until I get the proper orientation. I can also rotate it from here. And I will increase the perspective amount, fix the rotation, Now the rotation is good. I need to fix the lighting. Actually, um, for the first one, it needs to be like this. To fix the lighting, I need to go down here. You see, you have different shading parameters. You have the wireframe, no shading, it will give you a flat color, diffuse shading, and plastic shading. Alright? And you can also choose to have bevels, which will give you these circular or cut ends from here. Okay, let's keep the let's set the bevel to none for now, and I'll go to more options, and this is where I change the position of the light that's hitting that surface. So I need one light from here, right? And I need another light, so I click on new and move the light up so that it lights it from the top. Alright, so now there is a light from the top here. I'll press OK. Alright, now I need to add the 7. So I'll type in 7 again. I'll scale it up, and I will drag it onto my symbols, and I will type, say, 7. So now I have 7 as a symbol, and I need to map it here. Now I pressed OK. To get back the options, I go to Appearance and double click on 3D Extrude and choose Preview. I can now increase the extrusion amount a bit more. Let's say 100. Okay, it's good. Now I need to map the 7 here, which is stick the 7 as a sticker onto the front side. So what I would do is go to Map Art, and then I would select the surface where I want to stick the symbol. Now I go to Symbols and I scroll down, and that's my 7 symbol. And there it is. I can scale it if I like. Alright. To make it bigger, I can move it around. Once I'm happy with the placement, I would press OK. And that is my extruded cube with the 7 mark. Alright. And for the other ones, I do the exact same thing. I just change the label, and I change the orientation to get something like this.